Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating characters in all of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, the beautiful but absolutely terrifying Testarossa.
So let's get right into it. On the surface, she's all elegance and grace, and she's completely loyal to Rimuru. But then you hear this name, Killer Lord. It doesn't quite add up, does it? Well, today we're going to peel back the layers on this incredible character and figure out what makes Rimuru's most dangerous subordinate tick.
You see, to really understand Testarossa, you've got to look at the two, well, completely opposite faces she shows the world. And believe me, the contrast is pretty deadly.
On one hand, you've got the perfect diplomat. Seriously, as Tempest's diplomatic attaché, she can navigate the trickiest political situations with a polite smile and a genius-level intellect. But on the other hand, she's a ruthless killer who literally finds joy in watching her enemies crumble in despair.
So that's the big question, right? Which one is the real her? Is the diplomat just some kind of act? To get to the bottom of that, we have to go way, way back into her ancient and honestly kind of horrifying past.
See, her true identity, it's a secret that's big enough to shake the entire world. It's a name that people only whisper when they're telling scary stories.
Turns out, Testarossa is one of the 7 primordial demons. We're talking about beings that have been around since the dawn of time. Her original name is Blanc, the Primordial White. She's on the same level as guys like Diablo, the Primordial Black, which makes her one of the most feared beings in all of existence.
And if you want to know what she's really like, her most famous, or maybe infamous, story tells you everything. Ages ago, a king summoned a demon to protect his daughter. And who did he get? Blanc. Well, instead of helping, she just possessed the princess and then, basically out of sheer annoyance at the king's weakness, she slaughtered every single person in the entire country. The massacre was so total that a nearby lake was stained permanently red with blood. They call it the Crimson Lake.
So this brings us to the central puzzle of her character, doesn't it? A being with that much power, that much pride. Why in the world would she serve anyone, let alone a slime? It just seems impossible. But the answer is actually found in a pretty weird recruitment mission started by another primordial. All right, so how did this totally untamable force get brought into Rimuru's circle? Well, it's a story that involves a ton of power, a whole lot of curiosity, and surprisingly, a cup of tea. Her journey to joining Tempest really happened in these 4 steps. It all kicks off with a weird visit from Diablo, which gets her curious, leads to a meeting that changes everything for her, and finishes with an oath she will never, ever break.
It really all began with Diablo. She knew him as this incredibly proud and powerful being, right? But then she sees him happily serving tea and doing chores for his master and even bragging about it. For Testarossa, this just didn't compute. She just had to see this Rimuru for herself. She figured either she'd make fun of Diablo, or if this master was a nobody, she'd just destroy him.
But when she finally met Rimuru, all those thoughts just vanished. You know, demons can see the true nature of a soul, and what she saw in Rimuru was a soul with this overwhelming light, this immense power and purity. And on top of that, he wasn't scared of her at all. He was standing in front of 3 primordials and didn't even flinch. That sheer, unshakable confidence just completely captivated her.
But the real clincher was the naming. See, for a normal being, naming a primordial is basically suicide. It can drain your life force completely. But Rimuru? He did it like it was nothing. He gave her a new name, Testarossa, and a perfect physical body to go with it. That single act of incredible power and generosity was all the proof she needed. This was the one true master she would serve for the rest of eternity.
So, what happens when you take that kind of fanatical loyalty and aim it at your enemies? Well, Testarossa's already massive power evolves into something else entirely, something truly, truly terrifying.
Now that she's with Rimuru, her powers are all about elegant and completely inescapable ways to die. Take Death Streak. It's not just a spell, it's like a magic virus that literally rewrites your DNA to kill you from the inside. Then there's her ultimate skill, which gives her actual control over the concepts of life and death. She just decides who gets to live. And because of her connection to Rimuru, she can even tap into void energy, which is one of the most destructive forces in the universe.
We saw this on full display during the war with the Eastern Empire. An army was marching towards her. And what does she do? She didn't just attack. Nope. She calmly drew a line in the dirt and gave them a simple, polite warning.
Of course, the army just laughed it off and crossed the line. The second they did, she unleashed Deathstreak. The result? A silent, instant end for the entire army. Then she harvested almost 1 million of their souls, not because she needed to, but as a, get this, a souvenir for her master.
And that story just perfectly captures who she is, right? She's a weapon of mass destruction who thinks genocide is a nice way to grab a gift for her boss. And you see this same crazy duality even when she's just living her day-to-day life in Tempest.
Even though she's one of the most powerful beings around, there's one person in Tempest she just can't beat. Sagion, the insectoid guardian. His defenses make her magic totally useless. But does that get her down? No way. It just makes her want to get stronger, pushing this ancient magic user to actually start learning hand-to-hand combat, just so she can have a shot at winning.
But at the exact same time, her biggest goal in life is just to serve Rimuru perfectly. And this comes out as a super intense, though friendly rivalry with characters like Shuna over who can make him the best cup of tea. It's wild. The same person who can wipe out 1 million lives without blinking an eye also obsesses over water temperature and the quality of tea leaves.
And that's really Testarossa in a nutshell. She's this perfect combination of unimaginable, world-ending power and this quiet, almost domestic devotion. She is the Killer Lord, absolutely, but she's also the loyal aide who just wants her master to tell her she made a good cup of tea.
She is, without a doubt, a pillar of Rimuru's kingdom, a being of terrifying power and absolute love. It's this dual nature that makes her so much more than just a weapon. It makes her one of the most compelling and unpredictable characters in the whole series. She's elegance and terror, devotion and destruction, all wrapped up in one flawless, deadly package.